"Get out of this house, you shameless gold digger!" Chioma shouted, dragging Binta's traveling box down the front steps of the duplex. Monica, her sister-in-law, grabbed Binta's designer handbag and tossed it across the compound like it was nothing but trash. "We warned our brother about you, but love has blinded him." Their father, Mr. Okonkwo, folded his arms across his chest. His face was stern and proud. "This is a respectable home. You cannot deceive us anymore. Pack your things and go back to wherever you came from." Binta stood in the middle of the chaos, trembling. Her voice shook as she tried to speak. "Daddy, Mummy, please. You don't understand. Don't call me Daddy," he barked. "You think you can come here and eat where you didn't sow?" Thomas came rushing down the stairs, eyes wide in disbelief. "What's going on here?" "Your wife is going back to her people today," Chioma snapped. "Before she uses charm to destroy you completely." Thomas blinked. He looked at Binta, then his parents. His hands clenched. "Please, just stop. You should be ashamed of yourself." Monica fired at Binta. "Our brother is the one paying all the bills. You just sit down here like a queen." And that was the final straw. Binta stepped forward, tears finally spilling from her eyes. Her chest heaved with frustration and pain. "Enough!" she screamed. "Since you all want the truth, fine. I'm the one paying the rent. I'm the one who put food in your mouths. I even gave Thomas money to pay my bride price." Everyone froze. The entire compound fell silent. Even Thomas closed his eyes in shame. But Mr. Okonkwo's voice thundered again, breaking the silence. "You lie. You think we'll believe such nonsense? Our son are reduced to what? A houseboy?" Thomas turned slowly to his family. His voice was low but clear. "She's telling the truth." Chioma gasped. Monica dropped the shoe she had picked to throw. Then Mr. Okonkwo raised his hand and pointed at Binta. "You will regret ever coming into this family." And just like that, Binta was kicked out. She stood outside, her bags on the ground, the family that once hugged her now shutting the gate in her face. But none of them knew the truth. Binta wasn't just rich. She was powerful. And this was only the beginning. Binta Yusuf was a woman most people envied but never understood. Born into wealth, she didn't rely on her parents' money. She was brilliant and bold. At just 26, she had launched SoftSync, a project management tool that quickly grew across Africa's tech space. Investors loved her. Users adored her. But Binta never made noise. She lived in a simple apartment in Lekki, dressed casually, and refused to wear her success like a crown. To her, real wealth was peace and loyalty, and that's what she saw in Thomas. Thomas Okonkwo had charm, confidence, and his own blooming tech career. He was working on a medical app that could revolutionize rural diagnostics. He wasn't rich, but he was ambitious, and he treated Binta like she was the only woman in the world. But fate has a cruel sense of humor. Just 6 months before their wedding, Thomas's major deal crashed. The international firm he worked with pulled out. 2 months later, the company folded. Thomas lost everything. "Maybe we should postpone the wedding," he had whispered to Binta one night. His eyes were full of shame. "I want to give you the life you deserve." Binta held his hand tightly. "Thomas, I'm not marrying you for money. I can take care of us until you get back on your feet. Please, don't let pride destroy us." So she paid for the wedding. Quietly, kindly, even the bride price. The entire ceremony was a dream, from the colorful traditional wedding in Enugu to the white wedding in Lagos. Binta's gown sparkled. Guests danced. Families cheered. But behind the scenes, something ugly was brewing. Thomas had not told his family the truth. They thought he had struck gold. They believed their son had suddenly become a billionaire overnight. They didn't know Binta paid for everything. So when they saw the luxury hall, the catering, the security, and even a surprise guest appearance from a popular musician, they assumed Thomas had done it all. "He must be rolling in dollars," Chioma said, smiling proudly. "Yes." Mr. Okonkwo nodded. "This is what it means to be a real man." Thomas swallowed hard and said nothing. The tension started barely 1 week after the wedding. The phone calls began. "Thomas, your younger brother needs money for his WAEC form." Thomas, we want to change the roof in the village. Thomas, can you send Monica to Dubai for holiday? Each time, Binta would gently ask, what should we do? And Thomas would sigh, please, help me just this once. I promise I'll refund you. She never reminded him that he hadn't refunded the last one, or the one before that. She paid, silently. Sometimes she even transferred the money herself and told him to forward the alert screenshot so his parents wouldn't ask questions. But it didn't end there. His family began showing up, uninvited. Chioma would come and stay for 2 weeks. Monica borrowed a handbag and never returned it. Mr. Okonkwo asked for a loan to buy land in Orca. They were slowly draining Binta, but not just her bank account for peace. Still, she held on, because she loved Thomas, because she believed in him, until the day Monica stood in her living room and called her a parasite. You think we don't know your type, Monica hissed. You used your body to trap our brother, gold digger. Binta blinked. Excuse me? Thomas wasn't home that day. Binta just stood there, frozen, as Monica walked past her with arrogance. And that was when Binta knew. Something had changed. The respect was gone. One Friday morning, Binta was in the kitchen when the doorbell rang. She opened the door and froze. It was Mr. Okonkwo, Chioma, and Monica bags in hand. We've come to teach you your place, Chioma said coldly. What do you mean? Mr. Okonkwo stepped forward. This is our son's house. You are just a visitor. You came with nothing, and you'll leave with nothing. Before Binta could respond, Chioma pushed her aside. Start packing your things. You're leaving today. That was the beginning of the scene in the hook, the screaming, the suitcase, the humiliation. It all exploded because one woman was quiet for too long, because one family believed a lie for too long, because a man was too ashamed to admit he had lost everything, and his wife had carried him in silence. But now the secret was out, and nothing would ever be the same again. The compound gate slammed shut behind Binta with a loud clang. She stood outside, stunned. Bags scattered on the ground. It was raining Nauthin, Lagos rain that soaked your bones without warning. Her phone buzzed in her palm. Thomas. She wiped her tears and picked. Binta, I'm so sorry. Don't be, she said quietly. I begged you to tell them the truth. I know. I couldn't. I didn't want to look like a failure in front of my family. There was silence on both ends. Then she said, now they think I'm a thief. And you let them. He didn't respond. She ended the call. Binta picked up her bag, flagged down a bolt, and left. 2 weeks passed. Thomas stayed behind with his family, hoping things would calm down. But things didn't calm down, they collapsed. Without Binta, he couldn't pay the rent. Thomas, the landlord said on the phone, your rent expired last week. Please, if I don't see alert by Friday, I'll have to take action. Thomas panicked. He opened his banking app 920. His parents were still expecting him to send 100 for Monica's relocation plans. He sat on the living room couch, holding his head in his hands. Binta used to pay all this, he whispered. Chioma knocked on his door. Your father says we're out of rice. Thomas just stared at her. He could barely feed himself. Another week passed. The compound was quiet. Bills piled. Nipa disconnected the light. Mr. Okonkwo now sat shirtless on a plastic chair, fanning himself with an old newspaper. This Lagos heat is too much, he muttered. When will Thomas bring light back? Chioma came out with a scowl. Even Gary is finished. Thomas had enough. I have nothing left, he shouted. They turned to him. What do you mean? His father asked. I'm broke. I've been broke. For over 6 months. Binta was the one paying for everything, your Gary, Monica's hair, this house, me. I have nothing. His mother staggered. Blood of Jesus. You allowed us insult her, Monica whispered. No, Thomas snapped. You insulted her. You threw her out. Me was just a coward. He stood, picked up a small duffel bag, and zipped it. I'm going to Enugu. I can't stay in this city anymore. When Thomas arrived in Enugu, his uncle's old house welcomed him with cracked walls and leaking roofs. No AC, no Wi-Fi, No lights, unless the generator worked. His father looked defeated. His mother stayed silent most times. Monica avoided eye contact. They were ashamed, not just of the reboot of how cruel they had been to the woman who saved them all. That evening, Mr. Okonkwo finally said, "We must go and beg her." Meanwhile, in Lekki, Binta had returned to her life. The first week was hard. She couldn't sleep. Her heart ached, but she poured her pain into work. She launched her second tech product, a financial app called Paylight for low-income users. Investors loved it. Her face appeared in Forbes Africa Women in Tech. Clients from Dubai and Nairobi reached out. Emails flooded in. Deals signed. Yet, one message never came. Thomas never called. She told herself it was fine, until one afternoon, a knock came on her gate. She looked through the security cam and froze. It was them. Kioma, Monica, Mr. Okonkwo, all kneeling. In the rain. "Binta, please," Chioma begged, voice cracking. "Forgive me. I didn't know. You thought I came to steal from your son?" Binta said, standing behind the gate. Mr. Okonkwo bent his head. "We were blind, foolish, prideful. I lost my peace, my home, my husband, because you couldn't accept the truth." Monica sobbed beside them. "Please, help us fix what we broke." For the first time, Binta didn't cry. She just stood still. Behind her, her house was calm, her office peaceful, but her heart was storming. "Where is Thomas?" she asked finally. Mr. Okonkwo swallowed hard. "He said we should suffer for what we did. He told us not to contact you." Binta's chest tightened. "Where is he now?" "Enugu, living like a man that has lost it all." That night, Binta couldn't sleep. She opened her laptop and pulled up the file for her new project. It was good, but it could be better. She stared at the collaboration section. She remembered Thomas's medical app, his codes, his dreams. He was talented. He just lost his spark. She sighed. Then she opened WhatsApp and typed, "Binta, I heard you're in Enugu. I'm starting something new. It has potential. If you're ready, let's build again." The reply came 5 hours later. "Thomas, I'll come back. But I don't want your money. I want to earn this." She smiled. 3 months later, the two of them sat across from each other in a bright co-working space in Lekki. A contract sat on the table. Binta signed first, then Thomas. They had just registered their new company BT Systems. And right then, a message popped on Binta's phone. "Investor, we love your prototype. We're ready to go big." But before she could read it out loud, the door opened and someone stepped in who could ruin everything they just rebuilt. At the door, the office door creaked open. Binta looked up, her pen still hovering above a design sketch. Thomas sat across from her, his laptop halfway shut. Both of them froze. It was Monica, wearing sunglasses and holding a large brown envelope. Thomas groaned. "What are you doing here?" "I'm not here to fight," she said, stepping inside like she still owned the place. "I came to talk." Binta stood slowly. "You already talked when you threw my handbag across the compound. Or have you forgotten?" Monica pulled off her glasses. Her eyes were red, not from anger but regret. "I deserve that," she said. "But please, let me speak." Thomas leaned back in his chair, arms folded. "Then talk." Monica looked between them and took a breath. "I just got a job interview at a big agency in Abuja, but they asked for one last reference from someone I've worked with closely." "Me?" Binta raised an eyebrow. Monica nodded. "I put your name." Thomas burst out laughing. "You called her a gold digger, and now you want her to be your reference?" "I was wrong," Monica said quietly. "So wrong. And now, I need help." Binta stared at her for a long time. The air between them was thick with tension. Then Binta said softly, "You'll get the reference, but you'll also get something else." Monica blinked. "What?" "A job offer. You'll work under our PR team. But if I hear one insult, one passive-aggressive look, one lie—" "I won't," Monica interrupted quickly. "Never again." Thomas smiled, half shocked. You're really forgiving her? Binta shrugged. Everyone deserves one second chance. Only one. 3 months into the project, BT Systems took off like wildfire. Their app, Medilite, connected rural patients to verified online doctors using very little data. It began trending across West Africa. NGOs and clinics reached out for partnerships. Investors poured in money. But then, an email came that made Binta pause. Thomas read the email over her shoulder. Globotech was a global software giant. They had offered $4 million to buy Medilite. Full rights, full ownership. Binta and Thomas would get rich instantly, but they would lose control. Thomas closed the email. It's tempting. Binta nodded. Very. Monica said nothing. She just stood at the window, quiet. Then Thomas whispered, If we sell now, we walk away comfortable. But we'll never know how far this can really go. Binta stared at the wall, then whispered back, We didn't suffer this much to become employees again. And just like that, they rejected the offer. The pressure builds. The rejection didn't sit well with Globotech. 2 weeks later, their app started experiencing unexplained bugs. Users were getting random logouts. Pages failed to load. Codes mysteriously broke. Their lead developer panicked. We've been hacked. Thomas barely slept. His eyes were red. His beard was untrimmed. He began to spiral. Maybe we should have taken the offer, he whispered one night. Maybe we bit more than we could chew. No, Binta said firmly. We fight. We always fight. She called an emergency strategy meeting. Monica, surprisingly, stepped up. Let me go public with our story. Let the world know what's going on. They'll back off if they know people are watching. It was risky but bold. Monica's press release went live the next morning. From gold digger to breadwinner. The woman behind the rise of BT Systems. She detailed how Binta supported her husband, how she was kicked out, how she still forgave, and how they built an empire from the ashes. Within 48 hours, the story went viral on Twitter and LinkedIn. Tech blogs reposted it. Influencers spoke on it. Women applauded her. Even government officials called her the future of Nigerian tech. And Globotech? They backed off. Just when things seemed to stabilize, an old face returned. Chioma. She walked into the Lagos office during staff break, dressed in a simple Ankara gown. Binta stood, shocked. Chioma said softly, I'm not here to beg for food. I just came to say thank you. Thank you? Binta frowned. For not letting my son become a total failure. I don't know how you forgave him, or us, but I'm glad you did. Binta walked slowly toward her. You nearly destroyed me. Chioma nodded. I know, and I'll live with that guilt forever. Then she handed Binta a gift bag. Inside it was a framed photo of Binta and Thomas, taken during their wedding back when everything looked perfect, but everything was falling apart. Binta blinked away tears. Thomas walked in just then and stopped. Mum? I'm proud of you, she said. Then she left. No drama. No apology speech. Just peace. That night, Binta and Thomas sat on the rooftop of their house, sipping Zobo, staring at the Lagos skyline. They had survived betrayal. They had survived poverty. They had survived shame. Thomas leaned over and said, You know, there's something I've never told you. Binta looked at him. What? The day my family threw you out, I knew they were wrong, but I was too scared to lose both you and them. So I chose silence. I'm sorry. Binta took a deep breath. I forgave you the moment you moved back to Enugu. You just didn't know it yet. He smiled. Then his phone buzzed. A text. He opened it. His face dropped. What is it? Binta asked. He turned the screen to her. Message from unknown. We're not done with you. Your story made us lose millions. Let's see how long your company lasts. Binta's eyes widened. Who could it be? Globotech? A jealous competitor? Or someone much closer than they imagined? It was just past 2 a.m. Binta was in the study, running final bug tests for the Medilite expansion. The glow from her laptop painted her face with soft light. She sipped warm tea, eyelids heavy. Then, bang, bang, a loud knock echoed through the house. She froze. "Who's that?" Thomas called from the bedroom. "I don't know." They both rushed to the security screen. 3 men in dark hoodies stood at the gate. One was talking into a walkie-talkie. Another was scanning the compound with a flashlight. Binta's heart slammed. She pressed the intercom. "Who are you?" No answer. One man moved to the gate's control panel and began tampering. Thomas grabbed his phone. "Calling the police now." Binta was trembling. "Is this about that message? That warning?" Suddenly, the gate began to slide open. Just then, sirens. 2 police patrol vans screeched to a stop, floodlights blinding the men. Shouts, commands, and then arrests. The intruders were caught. At the station, Binta and Thomas gave their statements. One of the officers returned from the interrogation room with a brown evidence file. "Ma," he said to Binta, "you might want to see this." Inside the file were printed emails, threats, server blueprints, bank logs. Thomas frowned. This isn't just sabotage. This is a hit job." But what stunned them most, the sender's name on one of the email drafts. Emeka Okonkwo. Binta blinked. "Wait, Emeka? That's your cousin." Thomas rubbed his face. "No wonder. Emeka used to brag that he should be the one marrying someone like you. He works in cybersecurity. I never thought—" "He sent people to our house," Binta whispered, in disbelief. "Jealousy," the officer said. "He's the one Globotech used to leak your codes." Binta leaned back, silent. Even after all this, betrayal still came from someone who once called her sister. 2 weeks later, the case went to court. Binta and Thomas walked into the Federal High Court with their legal team. Media outlets were outside, flashing cameras. The headline had spread everywhere. "Tech couple survive inside attack from family hacker." Emeka stood in the dock, eyes cold. He refused to look at them. In court, evidence after evidence was shown: server breaches, threats, even his private chat with a Globotech exec asking, "How much if I crash their next app?" The judge turned to Emeka. "You attempted cybercrime, blackmail, and endangerment. For what?" Emeka said nothing. Binta stood to address the court. "I forgave my husband's family once. I built a home from nothing. But when you target my life, my business, and my peace, you don't get mercy. You get justice." The courtroom clapped softly. The judge banged the gavel. "Guilty." Sentence: 8 years imprisonment. Weeks passed. The attack, instead of sinking the company, boosted it. People loved the story, loved Medilite, loved Binta's strength. Their app reached 1 million downloads. They got featured on CNN Africa. They got invited to speak at the Global Health Summit in South Korea. And Binta was offered a government contract to digitize rural clinics in Nigeria. Back in Enugu, Thomas's parents watched the CNN clip of Binta speaking in Seoul. Chioma wiped tears. "She should have left us forever. But look at her." Mr. Okonkwo nodded slowly. "Our son would be nobody without her." And yet, she never reminded him of that. Monica now worked full-time at BT Systems. She had moved into her own apartment and finally found peace. On Binta and Thomas's 2nd wedding anniversary, they hosted a tech gala in Lagos. People from all over came. Investors, journalists, students. On stage, Binta walked up to the mic in a glowing green dress. She looked out at the crowd, then smiled gently. "I once got kicked out of my own home. They called me a gold digger. But the truth is, I was digging for something bigger legacy." The crowd clapped. Thomas joined her on stage, holding her hand. "And today," Binta continued, "we've built a company, a family, and a future. Not because we had it easy, but because we kept going." Standing ovation. Later that night, in bed, Thomas whispered, "Binta, thank you for not giving up on me, even when I gave up on myself." She smiled, running her hand through his hair. "Next time your family calls someone a gold digger, remind them she might be planting seeds." He laughed. Lesson learned. Outside, the Lagos skyline blinked with light. Inside, Binta turned off the lamp, but the glow in their hearts never went dark again. Please like and subscribe to our channel.